Have you ever struggled to get an effortless vibrato? I know I have, and it can be so discouraging. But then a friend introduced me to a concept that totally changed the way I thought about vibrato. It went from frustrating to actually fun. So in this video, I will show you this technique plus some key takeaways for when you should and shouldn't use this type of vibrato. Let's dive in. So this trick or technique or whatever you want to call it, I call it the unifinger idea. I found that if I just vibrate the way I was taught, which was to basically keep the hand in regular playing position, kind of like a little machine with the fingers going down, that my vibrato, there was like a ceiling to what I could do with it. I can go slow, I can go wide, but there's just not as much potential. So the technique is to take whatever finger you're on and the next finger, so I'm on one, so I will take two, and just kind of bump it up next to one, not really on top of one, kind of next to it, and it really allows for the wave to be much wider. I generally don't do this in orchestra because it doesn't really blend as well. It's a little bit too strident. In orchestra, I will play like I was taught. Generally pretty conservative vibrato, and I've done a whole video on that, which I will link up to here. But for this more soloistic, I think of it as expressive vibrato or wider possibility vibrato or whatever you want to call it. Taking the finger above the one you're on and letting it kind of bump up against is helpful. If I'm up in thumb position, it's the exact same concept. I'll take two, and I'm not really coming down on the string exactly. I'm just kind of coming next to it. And there's something about not trying to maintain the hand position, which I typically do if I'm playing faster passages or that kind of thing. I've got a whole video on that too, which I will also link up to. But for this more expressive playing, I find that I can really get a lovely vibrato. If I'm on third finger, what I do is I put second finger next to third finger, and that's kind of the unifinger. The one exception, and I do this for orchestra, is fourth finger. I always play fourth and third finger as a unifinger. I do that every time I vibrate because I just can't get a good vibrato with my pinky alone, and I feel everything start to tense up in my hand. So when I'm using fourth finger, and I only use fourth finger in the lower positions, I always do fourth and third together, and I let first and second finger just relax. If I stop vibrating, they're going to be basically in position, but I don't keep them all down. I was taught at some point learning bass to keep all fingers down when you're vibrating. That can work, and it really depends on what you're doing and the context. If I was playing like Beethoven's Ninth Symphony, the first statement of the theme, I would probably be... I would probably keep all the fingers down, and I might just add vibrato a little bit. I would not be really super vibrato-y on that passage, especially in the orchestral situations I play in. I'm trying to blend and just be very sparing with my vibrato. If I was playing something like the Kusevitsky Concerto, I'm going to be using this all the time. That first note, when we get into the theme, I have second and third finger together. And it really does kind of look like a unifinger. If you just take your fingers and you hold them in position and then just take them, and you can think of like the stereotypical Southern Italian kind of gesture, that really is sort of the feeling that I have in my hand. If you're having challenges developing this, it's pretty normal. And one technique that I find super helpful to just sort of reset your brain is to take your fingers and practice this, but put your fingers between the strings. Don't even put them on the string. There's something about putting the finger on the string, you bring up all the habits that you've built up over the years playing bass, or even if you're new to bass, it just can be a little bit intimidating. If you just put your fingers on a flat surface, you're not going to have all that baggage. And I'll do that down here for lower positions. I'll do the exact same thing up in thumb position and then transfer it over to the string. But no matter how much you work on this, if you cannot figure out how to unlock your body when you're playing the bass, you're just gonna run into roadblocks. So check out this video we've got linked up and we'll see you there.